Hey, I'd like to welcome you to another episode of the Mission Matters Business Podcast, your source for all things business. My name is Adam Torres. You can follow me on Instagram at AskAdamTorres. Keep up with my book releases, book tour schedule, signings, all that other good stuff. Always love to connect with you there. And as always, if you'd like to apply to become a co-author of one of my upcoming books, just head on over to the website, missionmatters.com, and click on Become an Author to apply. All right, so today is a very special Reunion 2020 episode. What is that? That's when I bring on a guest I had on in the past, and I liked them so much I had to bring them right on back. So today's special return guest is Gayle Noakes, and she's the owner over at Gayle Noakes Supervisor Success. Gayle, welcome back to the show.
Good morning, Adam. Thank you very much for having me back.
Oh, yes, and really excited to get into today's topic. So how to retain new hires. Big topic. I mean, a lot of people talk about, how do you attract that talent? Well, how do you keep them? And that's what we're going to talk about today. But before we do, I don't want to assume that everybody caught your first episode, Gayle. A lot of new listeners. Let's just start off with you telling us a little bit more about what you're doing over at Gayle Noakes Supervisor Success, please.
Wonderful. Yes, I work with manufacturing companies specifically, and I really work with them to develop the leadership skills of their frontline supervisors and leads. Often, the individuals who are being supervisors in manufacturing companies have been fabulous operators running machines, and suddenly they get promoted and they become part of the people business. And without some skills and help, they struggle in that role. But they're very eager learners once they start realizing that there's things they can learn and they can be very successful in that role.
What do you find is one of the big challenges to somebody making that leap, like as soon as they get into the, let's say, people business, as you mentioned?
I think one of the challenges is, frankly, just organization. When you're running a machine, you have a schedule to meet, and sure, things show up, but basically you know what's got to get done every day. Suddenly you're in meetings, somebody doesn't show up for work, so they have to fill that person in, the schedule changes, and so suddenly they're managing very multiple aspects besides dealing with conflict, having difficult conversations, giving feedback, which many of them have never done as well. So the job gets a lot more complicated than they had in the past, and trying to figure out how to prioritize that is difficult.
Let's switch it up. Let's get into today's topic. So how to retain new hires. Where do you want to start with that one?
Well, I've been talking with various companies lately, and this topic continues to come up. In some of these companies, they are being able to attract new hires and bringing them into the company, but many of them are leaving very quickly, some within a day, some within a week, some within a couple years. And I've started to look at that. And first of all, often when we're bringing in younger people, we think that they're so different than the baby boomers and those folks. And one of the beliefs that I really have that I'd like to share is just, I think all of us as human beings want certain things. We want to be able to use our talents. We want to feel appreciated. We want to be in the know. We want to know what's going on, and we want to make a difference. I think sometimes the younger folks just may ask for it, and we may need to give them some of those things in a different way than we have in the past. But I think all those fundamentals are still there.
100%. I love that you bring that up, because I'm like, there's going to be some things that are different, obviously, in the way the delivery happens, and because of that, we think that we're all this different, but it's not really the case. I love that you bring that up. It's like, oh, we're still breathing the same air, by the way, so some of our fundamental things are not all that different. So where do we go with that next? So what's the next step to developing and retaining?
Well, I think one of the things is we need to look at changing our approach, and it doesn't have to be a huge change, but I was talking with one company, and I think this is fairly normal. I said, so you get a new person in, what's their first day or two look like? And what I really heard is they fill out benefits paperwork, they learn the safety rules, and then they're put on machines. This particular in manufacturing, but I think it's pretty similar in other industries as well. And when the individual was sharing this with me, we were all kind of looking at each other, going, that's not doing much to inspire, to bring someone to a place where they're very excited about their role. So I think part of it is we need to, what I'm starting to label, we need to provide a new employee experience that, in the first day they leave going, wow, this is pretty cool. This is a company I want to be part of.
Wow. And so what are some attributes? Obviously, this is going to change from company to company and definitely role that they're hired for. But what would you think are some good attributes to creating a good, we'll say, first impression or employee experience, as you said, for the business owners listening?
Yes. I think there's a few things that we can do as a base. First of all, having somebody who's really a new employee coordinator. So they're really the champion for the new employees. And they do things like, send out a welcome letter. They're there when the new employees come and welcome them. Because what now is we're leaving them up to very busy supervisors, HR people, and nobody really owns this relationship with the new employee. Another thing is, there's situations where we need to hire people before we absolutely need them because if we're already in a push and behind, it's hard to take that little extra time to help the new employee feel part of the company. Another thing is, I think, even just as basic as having them be very clear on their role. Sometimes we don't do a good enough job of that, and they just feel uncomfortable because they're not really sure what they're supposed to be doing. And another piece is really sharing with them, who are our customers? What are our products? How do the customers use what we do? There's nothing more satisfying than being out in the world and be able to show your family, hey, we build that. Or, we provide this product and it actually makes a difference in the world. Those kinds of things can really bring people that inspiration to say, I'm part of something that's making a real difference in the world. And that's very attractive, again, I think, to everyone.
No, are you kidding me? Of course. Like you said, to be able to say, we built that or we did that. And I can think about, growing up in Michigan, and I can remember, talking to family members that worked on the assembly line or built different types of cars or things like that. And for them to, be so proud to talk about a new model coming out or looking at it and remembering, I remember when that came out, many, many years ago, and they worked on it. And, I mean, there's a sense of pride. There's a sense of being part of it. And when you see that, your product out there and people using it and enjoying it, that makes you want to stay and be a part of it. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we assume that people will come along with us over time, but I think what we're finding in today's environment, people need to be engaged in the company very quickly. And I really don't think the things we need to do are all that hard. They're certainly not expensive. They just take a little time and attention so that but the reward will be that some of these employees will be staying with the company and will, want to be contributing because they feel that inspiration right off of day one.
That's awesome. So, Gayle, if somebody is listening to this and they want more information on the Gayle Noakes Supervisor Success, what's the best way for them to reach out?
There's a couple different ways. You can go to my website at www.gayle, which is Gayle, Noakes, Noakes.com. You're also happy to email me directly at gayle@gaylenoakes.com, and I'd love to continue the conversation.
Fantastic. Well, hey, Gayle, great to have you back on the show for this reunion 2020 episode. Been awesome catching up with you, and you brought a lot of value today, and for our employers that are listening and business owners on how to retain new hires, which is a big deal. So thank you again for that. And to the audience, as always, thank you for tuning in. Hope you got a lot of value out of this. If you did, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, leave me a review on the Apple iTunes Store, and if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, Mission Matters Business, definitely give us a subscribe there, but leave us some comments in the comment section. Love to know your opinion on new hires and retention. And Gayle, thanks again for coming back on the show.